Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. We're gonna try to survive the mosquitoes today. Man, they are just terrible. I mean, we got a nice little breeze, but we've just been so wet in Wisconsin that the mosquitoes are terrible. But we're gonna do a little river fishing for you today with a buzzbait. That's right, a buzzbait. A lot of people don't think of a buzzbait as a current fishing bait, but I'm gonna show you why I love it and why this Picasso Rusty Squeaker catches them so good in this. At least I'm hoping to catch a few for you, otherwise I sound like a fool. But I think we're gonna catch a couple. So let's see what we can get out here and do. Hopefully we get a lot more bites than just bites from mosquitoes. Oh God, that was awesome. Gonna come back for it. That was a nice one. That's a big bass. Oh. You like the Rusty Squeaker? Golly, that's a good one. Oh yeah, guys. That's like a 4.5, probably. God, that's a nice one. Look at that one. That's a 20-inch river smallmouth. Chunky fish. If you want to catch a giant smallmouth, you throw a buzzbait. A lot of people don't know that. You want to catch a giant smallmouth, you throw a buzzbait. That's something, if you live up here in the North Country, you probably know that. Part of that, I think, is, you know, we catch a lot of giant smallmouth on tallywhacker style baits or plopper style baits, but they're for muskie, so they're like that big. And that's kind of just an oversized buzzbait. But for me, man, if you've got the opportunity to catch a big smallmouth, a buzzbait is a great way to do it. And in this case, you know, we've got a shot at a big largemouth, big smallmouth, a big muskie. You know, we're just kind of river fishing. You don't know what you're gonna catch. But big smallmouth like that is always fun. One of the reasons right there why a buzzbait is so good in rivers. That's another nice one. Come here. Yowzers. That's another good one. Not as big, but I mean, probably 2.25. So one of the keys why I think buzzbaits are so good in this situation was right there. So I'm really trying not to cast upstream, because then the current and the buzzbait are coming same direction, but I try to cast perpendicular or to the point where I can keep my bait slightly downstream. I wasn't even reeling when that fish hit, and if I was just picking up the slack. I'm letting the current turn the blades right there for me. And you can just hold it there and let the current just work your buzzbait right in place. It's one of the awesome things about fishing current. You know, if you can position right, you can keep your bait in the strike zone for a long period of time. Now, one of the negatives is if you can't keep your bait in the strike zone, you're going to get a lot less bites. So you got to learn how to fish it. And that's why I'm really trying to throw much more perpendicular to the bank, or even to the point where I'm downstream. Like obviously I'll throw them upstream if I'm coming to a target, but I make sure to work it pretty much from all directions. And if you don't get the cast that you think you need, you keep making the cast until you get the presentation that you like based on the current. Because sometimes the current seam could be that far. So if you're 4 inches to one side, you don't get the presentation you want. So keep making the same cast until you get your bait to come through the current like you want. It's one of the keys. Don't take your time with current, because the fish are only going to come out to bite your bait if they feel like they've got a really good shot at it. If they think they're going to potentially give up a spot, they're not going to do it. Or if they don't think they can get it, because then they give up, their hiding spot. They don't want to give up their hiding spot unless they feel really confident that they can get your bait. See, I'm not satisfied with that cast, so I make a better, oh gosh, a better cast, and I got whacked. Now let's see if we can get them back out. Gosh, a lot of times though, when they show their spot like that, you don't get them to come back because they're zipping down current. But that was a prime example. The first cast I made, I was not back where I wanted. The second cast, I got much further back, and I was basically just letting the current again just take the bait. And I got that fish to show himself. But I did not get him to bite or to hook up. So a lot of people would probably say, hey, you got to be throwing a trailer hook. I'm not in this case because of the fact that I'm fishing so much cover that trailer hook would be getting me stuck left and right. And I don't want to deal with that. So I don't have one on. In a tournament situation, I would definitely be thinking about it. Ideally, in this case, like I said, we could catch largemouth or smallmouth. If I'm fishing, if I know I've got a good shot at smallmouth, I will try to throw a trailer hook if I can. That was just a situation where I didn't have it on. I probably would have got him had I had it, but you also got to recognize that, you got to decide if there's another one, if it's worth it. That's another nice one. Come here. Oh. These are a little bit heavier than I'd like to be swinging. That's a 2.5. Got them right through the good part. This hook is so laser sharp. This is so much fun. We're gonna stick a giant largemouth at some point here. I just feel it. But I love the Rusty Squeaker because it's got that squeak to it, which to me is one of the things I love about a buzzbait. I actually was a long time ago, there was a company called Honey Buzz, and they offered a rusted rivet to create that squeak sound. That's what we have in this case. So if you see this, see the rivet right here? See how brown it looks, all nasty? But that's a rusted rivet on purpose. And that actually is what creates that squeaking sound. Now, if I want, I can bend it down. I can create this into a clacker style bait. But really what I like is the squeak. And I'm not doing a clacker. I'm not banging it on this case because I actually want my blade to spin extremely freely in this current. With a clacker style bait, you got to start your retrieve a little bit faster, and you got to reel a little faster because you're actually trying to get your bait to clunk through, the head of the bait. And I want my prop to spin freely in this current. But I really do feel like that squeak is important because, again, your bait is really zipping through the strike zone quickly. So, if you can let these smallmouth, if you can help them identify your bait faster, you're going to have more success. And that squeak is just pivotal. Like I said, I've rusted my own rivets for years. I'll tune my buzzbaits to get that squeak. And in this case, Picasso's got the Rusty Squeaker, which just comes ready to go, which is one of the things I love about it. Okay, let's catch another one. We could catch a good muskie doing this too. God, that's a big one. I think that's a big largemouth. Nope, big smallmouth. All about current position right there, guys. Holy cow. Don't go down there. That's a good one. They fight so hard with that current. You can just leave that buzzbait in the current and just let that squeaker just call him in. Whew. He's light colored for the river. Just a chunk. That one is definitely pushing 3 pounds. So talk setup a little bit here. This is one of my favorite trailers again. I talk about this bait a lot. That's just the Berkeley grass pig. This is the small size. Just pairs up so good with the white Picasso Rusty Squeaker. Now in this case, a lot of you probably notice I'm throwing fluorocarbon, and I know there's a lot of guys out there that like to throw braid. You can throw braid for sure with this. The only reason I'm not is because of the fact that I feel like, again, when I'm fishing this type of stuff, I get stuck a lot more with braid because it's a lot less forgiving. Meaning, like where that fish was, if that fish hadn't bitten, if that bait turns over with braid, it generally buries. Versus fluorocarbon's got just enough stretch where that bait can kind of roll without getting stuck. The braid just tends to, let's see if we can get another one. The braid just tends to get stuck more. It's just less forgiving. So I throw braid with buzzbaits a lot. In this case, I just know, it's just experience. I get stuck more. You know, I've got 15 pound, 100% fluorocarbon. That's good, strong line. So I'm throwing it on an NMB 874, so 7.3, 4 power. So it's a medium heavy, fast action rod. Just perfect for this. You know, you saw I just pulled a 3 pounder out of a big log jam. I mean, there's plenty of power to this. Have no problem getting the hooks in. Now I will say, you know, I mentioned not throwing a trailer hook. I do like to throw a trailer because it allows the fish, it gives them a target to really pull in, but at the same time, when I am holding this bait up in the current, that boot tail is just swimming in the current. So it's an attractor, and it also gives the fish a target. It also lets the fish suck the bait in easier. And again, they come up so hard in these cases that a lot of times you just, you know, I feel like you miss more fish if you don't have it, I guess is what I would say. I like the boot tail because it also helps keep the bait on the surface. I don't have to reel it as fast, and it just seems to work really well. And you know, being the grass pig, it just holds up great. A little tougher material. See, like in this case, I'm throwing up current. I don't like that as much because the bait just pulls out. It's, you know, you got to keep the bait moving to keep the prop spinning. So I would rather come from the other side and actually throw underneath if I can, just like that last fish. Another beautiful river fish on the old Rusty Squeaker grass pig combo. Guys, if you like to fish smallmouth or river fishing, you know, spotted bass, doesn't matter, largemouth, and you're not throwing a buzzbait, you got to try it. Go pick yourself up a Picasso Rusty Squeaker. That's my favorite for fishing current like this. Just such a good bait. I'll put the link in the video description for you if you want to check it out. Otherwise, I'm getting ready to roll into a tree right now, so I'm going to let you go. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We'll have a new video coming out tomorrow.